When we think about devotion, we picture fragrant incense, beautiful chanting, magnificent temples. But what if behind all that, there's a power that doesn't want to bless you, but to drain you? Today, we're diving into a pretty chilling cautionary tale about a power that was mistaken for something divine.
So let's just start with this central question from our source material. Imagine a marriage, but there's a third, invisible entity that's actually in control. Or think about this. You go to sleep feeling totally fine, completely whole, and you wake up feeling like something vital has been just stolen from you. This isn't just some story. For some people, it's a terrifying reality.
So, how does an invisible danger like this even start? Well, it doesn't show up with a big announcement. It just creeps in. It starts as a series of really unsettling symptoms that don't seem to have any logical medical or psychological cause. And that, of course, leaves people feeling completely lost and confused.
It all starts very subtly. A home that always felt peaceful now has this uneasy energy to it. Relationships that were solid start to sour, and you can't even pinpoint why. You feel physically and mentally exhausted all the time, like a battery that just won't hold a charge. Dark, really foul thoughts start popping into your head more and more often. And then there's that nagging feeling when you wake up, that you've lost something important in the night. That is the signature of its presence.
Okay, now that we've seen the symptoms, let's trace them back to the source. To really get what's going on here, we have to look at the origin story of this so-called goddess. So the source material is really clear on this. This entity was never truly divine to begin with. It was an energy that was cast out, exiled from its original source because of its own corruption. And here's the thing about an energy that's cut off like that. It can't create anymore. It can only consume. It doesn't give blessings, it brings destruction. So how does this energy get in? Well, the gateway is a ritual people do out of complete innocence and faith. They're told that if they get married in front of this entity, it'll bring them prosperity. But what's really happening is that they're creating an invisible alliance. It's a spiritual bond that literally invites this parasitic power to come and stand right between the husband and wife, where it can control and consume their shared energy. And the effects of this thing, they are devastatingly different for men and women. For men, it's like this slow hollowing out. Their confidence, their courage, their ability to just make a decision, it all just withers away. Some even reported feeling an invisible hand draining them at night. For women, it shows up as this uncontrollable anger, irritability, and a really deep sense of just discontent. Their inner and outer glow literally begins to fade. Essentially, the entity steals a man's masculinity and a woman's femininity, leaving them feeling aged and totally depleted.
So, as you can imagine, families were crumbling, lives were falling apart, and doctors or traditional remedies were no help at all. That's when a few spiritual masters, the source material calls them Sadics, decided they had to confront this invisible enemy head on. And this wasn't about just praying for help, this was a direct spiritual showdown.
These Sadics looked beyond the surface symptoms. Through intense meditation and energy work, they traced the problem right back to its source. And they realized this wasn't some kind of bad karma from a past life, which is what many thought. Nope. This was an active parasitic attachment that was formed through that mistaken ritual, that alliance. Just figuring that out required meeting the entity on its own energetic turf. There's a quote from the source that it perfectly captures the intensity of what happened next. This was a war where words become fire and meditation becomes a sharp sword. So yeah, this was not a gentle exorcism. This was a battle, fought on an invisible plane. The mantras they chanted were like weapons of fire, and their focused meditation became a blade, cutting away the entity's influence.
But this thing did not go quietly. As the Sadoks pushed forward with their spiritual assaults, the physical room itself would start to react. The air would get thick and heavy. Temperatures would drop or spike for no reason. Some said they felt the very walls vibrating. This was the entity fighting back, trying to plant fear and confusion in the minds of the Sadoks to get them to stop.
But as the mantras got stronger, the entity got weaker, and the healing finally began. For the people who were affected, the very first sign was a quietness in their own mind. The foul, intrusive thoughts just stopped. Then that feeling of constant exhaustion just lifted. Men felt their confidence and courage coming back, while women found their inner calm again. And finally, the heaviness in the home itself just dissolved,
and it was replaced by peace and harmony.
The battle was won, that's great, but the story doesn't end there. The most important takeaway is the lesson it gives us, and it's a really crucial piece of knowledge for anyone navigating the spiritual world today. And here's the kicker. According to the source, this was not some isolated one-time incident. The promoters of this cursed energy and others just like it are still out there. They use the allure of miracles, the big performance of devotion, and the appearance of divinity to lure people into the exact same trap, getting them to unknowingly hand over their life force.
So the whole point is knowing how to tell the difference. And the source gives us a really powerful litmus test for this. Just look at the effect on your mind. A truly divine energy brings peace and clarity. A cursed one creates restlessness and foul thoughts. What about your personal energy? Are you feeling uplifted and strengthened, or are you feeling drained and weakened? Look at your home. Is there harmony and balance, or heaviness and conflict? And finally, check in with yourself. Do you feel more connected to your higher self, your purpose, or do you just feel hollow and broken? These are the real telltale signs.
This brings us to the core message of this entire cautionary tale, really. True spirituality isn't just about blind faith or going through the motions of rituals. It's about awareness. It's not simply the act of bowing down. It is about having the clarity to know who or what you are bowing to. And that leaves us with the final and most important question from our source material. It's a question it urges every single one of us to ask ourselves. Whether you consider yourself on a spiritual path or not, it's a vital thing to think about. Before whom are you bowing?